Hi, and welcome to your first lesson of Learn Hypnosis in 5 days. I'm Mark Tyrrell, and the clips you just saw are all real live footage of hypnosis being performed. And these were filmed in my office or at the hypnotherapy diploma course my company ran for several years. And later on, I'll be showing you some live footage of me hypnotizing a client, and you'll be able to hear what I'm saying and see how she responds to that. But first, a quick bit of background. I've been a hypnotherapist for 20 years, and I'm the co-founder of hypnosisdownloads.com, the world's busiest hypnosis site. I've used hypnosis to overcome my phobia of public speaking and also of spiders, and I used it to build my business confidence and focus to go from financially weak to strong. I've helped car accident victims manage debilitating pain, traumatized veterans move on from the inner wounds of war, and people achieve the sort of success they wanted. And I'll talk about all of that and more later in the course. But what I really want to emphasize now is that knowing how to use hypnosis will change your life. It'll help you communicate much better with others because all communication has a hypnotic element to it. But crucially, it will help you help yourself much more in life to live happily. So let's get down to it. What can hypnosis do for you? Well, first, hypnosis can help you control your own thoughts and focus and also feelings. When you can reliably control your own attention, you've gained a great skill. Imagine being able to choose what you think about at any time, or to be able to choose to think about nothing at all. That's really handy for stress management and also falling asleep at night. But get this, it's through natural hypnotic states that we learn to respond to the world. So if someone has learned to respond fearfully or with self-doubt, it's because at some point a life event programmed that response into them. Even if they didn't feel like they were being hypnotized, it was a kind of natural hypnosis that was happening. Their mind became so focused by the life event that they powerfully and deeply learned to respond in a certain way. This course will help you take control of your hypnotic mind so you can choose how you respond to life more, as well as giving you an idea of how you can begin to overcome blocks and difficulties with hypnosis. So since you're going to be using hypnosis, you need a working description of what hypnosis is, a clear understanding. So here is one. Hypnosis is simply the deliberate use of the imagination paired with an incredibly strong focus coupled with relaxation. Done well, it can work in the same way as when you're dreaming, the mind's reality simulator. So more technically, it's a way of accessing the REM state, and REM stands for rapid eye movement, normally associated with nighttime dreaming. So we access the dream state even when we're awake. It's a kind of super learning or programming state. So I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here, but for now I just want you to think of hypnosis as a focused state of attention, and for our purposes, a relaxed state in which you can update emotional responses and learn fast. And we explore the dream connection to hypnosis more later in the course. But there's something else to hypnosis, and that's how to communicate with your subconscious, otherwise known as your unconscious mind. So your subconscious mind is much more powerful than your conscious mind. And scientists have determined that during any given second, our 5 senses are taking in over 11 million pieces of information. But the conscious mind can only take in at most 40 pieces of information. That means that a massive amount of what you experience, even of who you are, is unconscious, held within the deep reservoir that's your subconscious mind. Hypnosis is a way to tap in to your subconscious mind. But there's something you should know about your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind is incredibly intelligent in some ways. It can process information in a blink of an eye, heal wounds, produce amazing dreams as you sleep, have you do complex tasks like driving without even thinking about it consciously. But it can also get things terribly wrong. And that's what causes people problems. So when we use hypnosis to remove phobias or improve confidence or reduce blushing and so on, we do so because people don't do these things consciously. Rather, their subconscious mind has wrongly learned these responses. That's why you can think, this is silly, why am I so scared? Your conscious mind is doing the thinking at the same time that your unconscious mind is making you scared. The part of your mind producing the scared feelings is separate to the part doing the thinking, which is your conscious mind. So we use hypnosis to appeal to the part actually producing the problem. Through hypnosis, we can get to the part of the mind that produces those unwanted responses, and so change those responses fast. So hypnosis is about contacting and using the vast powerhouse of the subconscious mind. But let's get back to talking about focus. So when you go into hypnosis, you simply get very involved with an inner reality. And one way to create this involvement, this focus, is by drawing attention to detail in an interesting way. It's just like when you read a good book. A great author will make the words impossible to ignore. He or she will paint pictures in your mind with their words. And a good hypnotist will do the same. But it's not just about colourful imagination. It's about controlling your attention, getting it focused on one or just a few things. So how do we begin to use hypnosis? Now, when we first started training professional hypnotherapists way back in 1998, we thought we'd be training people who didn't know hypnosis. But what surprised us was that many of our delegates were already trained as hypnotherapists, but they were still coming along to learn about hypnosis. Now, this might have been because the hypnotic approaches they'd learned were rather inflexible, making it less likely they could hypnotize most people, or even themselves effectively. So with this in mind, let's look at our first hypnotic principle, an approach called utilization. You'll be getting to grips a bit more with this in lesson 2, but I want you to make a start on your hypnotic journey, and this is a great place to begin. Now, you're probably going to be surprised to hear that although this is our very first technique, and this is a free course, and it's just an introduction, many trained hypnotherapists don't know how to use this technique, don't know how to utilize properly. Once you understand and can really use the principle of utilization, you can do amazing things for yourself and for other people. So, utilization is all about using what a person does naturally to help them go into hypnosis quickly and easily. And in fact, all teaching, and that includes all psychotherapy or coaching, is best done by utilizing a person's pre-existing interests, their personality, their skills, their enjoyments, and their resources. Otherwise, you're trying to graft something onto an unsuitable basis. So just a quick pointer. Now, I need to tell you at this point, when I'm talking about techniques in hypnosis, I'm often going to be referring to hypnotizing someone else. Okay, this is simply because over the years we found it's a much easier way to demonstrate what we mean by this. All you need to remember is that anything you use to hypnotize someone else applies just the same to hypnotizing yourself. And in fact, treating yourself as someone else when doing self-hypnosis is by far the most effective way to do it. And we'll go into that a bit more later on. But for now, the amazing thing about the utilization technique is that if someone tells you about something they enjoy doing, you can use this to instantly deepen their recollection of it, and so make them feel really good to begin a hypnotic induction. This is a form of natural conversational hypnosis, the most skilled form of hypnosis there is. And when you do this, you develop an incredibly deep rapport with that person very quickly, because you're talking about what already interests them, meaning they're much more likely to want you to guide them deeply into hypnosis. They feel instantly that you understand what's important to them, and that creates a strong connection. Let me give you an example of utilization in action. I was about to present a day-long seminar to around 200 people in Bristol, in England. I knew the head technician had a great need for status. He needed to be seen as top dog. I'd also noticed something else about this guy. If you ever asked him to do something, he would have to go through a long ritual of at first telling you how it couldn't possibly be done, then telling you that it might be possible, but only he could do it. And when it made sure you really appreciated that only he could do it, that he was the man, would it finally get done? This was something I've noticed. All this took time. Now, on this particular morning, I needed the lecture to be audio recorded because I wanted someone who wasn't going to be there to be able to listen to it later. And realizing that the head technical guy was the one who would need to sort out the recording, I worried that if I just asked him, he'd take ages telling me why this was an unreasonable request and saying it was not possible and finally doing it, and all that would take more time than I had. So I decided to utilize his need for status. I didn't speak to him directly, but when I knew this guy was within earshot, I said loudly to my colleague, "You know, it's a shame that they can't audio record my lecture. They just can't do it here. They haven't got the technology, and if they could do it, then it would take too long to set up anyway." Now, of course, head technical guy heard all this, and who was I to say he couldn't set up audio recording? That it was not possible, that it would take too long, even if it was possible. And within 5 minutes, we were all set up for recording. So I'd utilized both his need for status and his need to be in the right. So that's a non-hypnotic example of everyday utilization in which we both got what we needed and he got to do his job properly. So how can we do this hypnotically? Well, we can use whatever the client already has as part of their familiar experience to build an hypnotic induction for them. In this way, it feels familiar to them when they begin to go into hypnosis. So watch this clip of me hypnotizing a lifelong smoker. I use her familiar experience of smoking as a gateway for her to enter hypnotic trance for the very first time. I just want you to approximate in your mind, okay, that last cigarette, oh, not last one, is it? The one after dinner. Okay, so you're in your house. Just imagine being in your house and imagine having finished your meal and flavors on the tongue, the sense of that still on the tongue, and the moment to which you put your fingers in that box and take out that cigarette, you know what I mean? And just imagining, just using the imagination to imagine the weight of the cigarette between the fingers and the experience of lifting that cigarette to the mouth. Just getting that. And the moment at which you put it in the mouth and you light it and you hear it being lit and you smell the smoke and you feel the heat in the mouth and down into the throat, and breathing in and puffing out the smoke and just getting a sense of that. You see, the way I utilize her pre-existing focusing behavior in order to induce hypnotic trance easily within her. And this is so much easier than trying to get someone to experience something totally new or using a one-size-fits-all hypnotic induction. Okay. And yes, I'm happy to say Linda did stop smoking after this session. But hypnosis is more than just a tool to amaze yourself and others. If you don't know how to use utilization, then you can't hypnotize others very well. And strangely enough, you can't hypnotize yourself very well either. An added benefit of this is that you get to know yourself better too. What makes you tick, what motivates you, where your passions lie. And as I said, it's amazing how many hypnotherapists of many years' practice still don't know how to use this approach. The utilization approach is a beautifully powerful way of not just hypnotizing people, and as I mentioned, yourself too. Learning how to utilize other people's experiences also gives you the most advanced social skill, that of merging with other people in everyday interactions when you want to help and influence them. Utilization is quite a simple principle, but it's almost infinitely deep. Keep the principle in mind, and as you go about your everyday business, and notice where you and other people use it naturally. So what I want you to do as your first exercise is for the next day or so, listen to how people describe their experiences. In particular, I want you to listen for the words they use to describe how they feel. This is important because their words represent their experience, their reality, and they fit like a key in a lock. And using a different word won't open the door to their experience in the same way. So feeding back the way people describe their experience is hypnotic. You can even carry a little notebook and write down some of those words. In the next lesson, I'll show you another example of me hypnotizing someone. I'll also hypnotize you so you can really understand how relaxing and serene a trance state can be. So keep your eye out for the next email from me, Mark Tyrrell, and I'll see you soon.